The camera pans across a dusty military base at dawn, the sun barely creeping over the horizon, casting long shadows across the sand. A lone figure stands at the edge of the training field, her silhouette rigid, her posture unyielding. Private First Class Elena Marquez, barely 23, grips her rifle tighter, her knuckles whitening. She's not supposed to be here, not on this elite obstacle course reserved for the best of the best. Whispers ripple through the recruits gathered nearby, their smirks barely hidden. She's got an excuse note for PT, one sneers, loud enough for her to hear. Probably faking it to skip the real work. Elena's jaw tightens, but she doesn't flinch. There's a mark on her forearm, a strange, coiled snake tattoo, barely visible under her sleeve. It's a mark that hides a secret, one that could turn this base upside down. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button to join us for stories that'll grip your heart and blow your mind. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. Elena wasn't always the outcast. Growing up in a small Texas town, she was the girl who climbed trees faster than the boys, who ran circles around her brothers in the backyard, her laughter echoing through the humid air. Her father, a retired Marine, taught her discipline, grit, and how to shoot a rifle before she was 12. "You're tougher than they'll ever know," he'd say, his eyes gleaming with pride. But when she enlisted, hoping to honor his legacy, the army wasn't the brotherhood she'd imagined. She was smaller than most, quieter, and her sharp intelligence made her a target. Too soft, they called her. Too weak. The truth was, Elena carried a weight none of them could fathom, a secret mission that had left her scarred, physically and otherwise, and a classified file that only a handful of people in the Pentagon knew existed. It started 6 months ago, in a place she wasn't supposed to be. Elena had been handpicked for a Black Ops unit so covert it didn't have a name, only a symbol, a snake, coiled and ready to strike. She was 22, fresh out of basic, when a man in a black suit approached her at Fort Bragg. "You're not here to be a grunt," he'd said, his voice low. "You're here to disappear." The mission was simple on paper: infiltrate a rogue militia in South America, gather intel on a weapons smuggling ring, and get out. But nothing is simple in the jungle. Elena spent weeks undercover, her heart pounding every time she passed a guard, her cover story as a local guide holding by a thread. She saw things: mass graves, betrayed allies, children caught in the crossfire that still woke her up screaming. And then came the night of the extraction. A betrayal from within her own team left her stranded, fighting her way out through a hail of bullets. She survived, but not without a cost. The snake tattoo, burned into her skin during a brutal interrogation, was a mark of her survival and a reminder of the traitor who'd sold her out. Back at the base, no one knew. Not her squad, not her commanding officer, not even the grizzled Colonel Harper, who ran the base like a king. To them, Elena was just another recruit, one who'd shown up with a medical exemption for physical training, citing a vague injury. The rumors spread like wildfire: she was lazy, milking the system, unfit to wear the uniform. The truth was, her body was still healing from shrapnel wounds and fractured ribs, injuries she couldn't explain without breaking her cover. The snake mark, hidden under long sleeves, burned against her skin every time she heard the whispers. She wanted to scream the truth, to shove her classified file in their faces, but silence was her orders. Silence, and waiting for the next mission. Today, though, something was different. Colonel Harper had ordered a surprise fitness test, a grueling course designed to separate the weak from the strong. Elena stood at the starting line, her exemption note crumpled in her pocket. She could have used it, could have walked away. But the jurors from her squad, led by Sergeant Brody, a hulking man with a chip on his shoulder, lit a fire in her. "Let's see if you can even finish, Marquez," Brody taunted, his voice dripping with contempt. The other recruits laughed, their eyes glinting with cruel amusement. Elena's gaze locked on the course: mud pits, rope climbs, a 20-foot wall, and a brutal 3-mile run under the blazing sun. She wasn't supposed to do this. Her body wasn't ready. But the snake on her arm seemed to pulse, whispering a challenge she couldn't ignore. The whistle blew, and Elena surged forward, her boots pounding the dirt. The first obstacle, a barbed wire crawl, tore at her sleeves. But she moved like a ghost, low and fast, her training kicking in. The recruits behind her faltered, slipping in the mud, their curses filling the air. Brody, ahead of her, glanced back with a smirk, expecting her to collapse. Instead, she cleared the crawl in record time, her movements precise, almost predatory. Whispers turned to murmurs of confusion. "How's she doing that?" someone muttered. Elena didn't hear them. Her mind was back in the jungle, dodging bullets, her survival instinct overriding the pain screaming through her body. The rope climb was next, a 30-foot beast that had broken stronger soldiers. Brody scaled it with ease, his muscles flexing, but Elena was right behind him. Her hands, calloused from months of gripping weapons in the field, moved with a rhythm born of necessity. She reached the top just as Brody did, and for a split second, their eyes met. His were filled with disbelief, hers with something darker resolve. She didn't just want to finish, she wanted to win. The course grew harder, each obstacle testing her limits. The wall loomed ahead, its surface slick with morning dew. Brody and the others scrambled up, some falling back, their egos bruised. Elena's ribs ached, her breath ragged, but she didn't stop. She climbed, her fingers digging into the wood, her boots finding purchase where others slipped. The crowd was silent now, their mockery replaced by stunned disbelief. Colonel Harper watched from the sidelines, his arms crossed, his face unreadable. Elena reached the top, her body trembling, and slid down the other side, hitting the ground running. The final stretch was the run at 3 miles through uneven terrain, the sun now high and merciless. Brody was still ahead, but not by much. Elena's legs burned, her lungs screamed, but she pushed forward, her mind locked on a single thought: prove them wrong. She thought of her father, his voice steady in her memory. She thought of the jungle, the betrayal, the snake mark that branded her as a survivor. She wasn't weak, she was a weapon. As she crossed the finish line, seconds behind Brody, the base erupted, not in cheers, but in shocked silence, then a slow ripple of applause. Brody turned, panting, his face a mix of anger and grudging respect. Elena stood tall, her chest heaving, her sleeve torn just enough to reveal the edge of the snake tattoo. Colonel Harper stepped forward, his eyes narrowing as he caught sight of the mark. His face, usually a mask of authority, went pale, his lips parting in recognition. He knew that symbol. He knew what it meant. The base buzzed with rumors by nightfall. Elena wasn't just a recruit, she was something else, something dangerous. Colonel Harper called her into his office, the door closing with a heavy thud. "Who are you, Marquez?" he demanded, his voice low, almost afraid. Elena stood at attention, her eyes steady. "Just a soldier, sir," she said, but the snake on her arm told a different story. Harper leaned back, his gaze flickering to the classified files on his desk. He'd seen that mark before, in reports he wasn't supposed to read, about a unit that didn't exist. "You're no ordinary soldier," he muttered, his voice barely audible. "And you're not done yet." The truth unraveled slowly, like a fuse burning toward an explosion. Elena's Black Ops unit wasn't finished with her. The traitor who'd betrayed her in the jungle was still out there, and the mission wasn't over. Harper, now privy to her file, swore her to secrecy, but the base was different now. The recruits who'd mocked her avoided her eyes, their whispers replaced by awe, fear, even respect. Brody, for all his bluster, offered a curt nod one morning, a silent acknowledgement of her strength. Elena didn't care. She wasn't here for their approval. She was here for the mission, for the truth, for the chance to face the traitor who'd left her for dead. Months passed, and Elena trained harder, her body healing, her resolve sharpening. The snake mark, once a symbol of pain, became her badge of honor. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was thriving. The base became her home, the course her proving ground. But late at night, when the base was quiet, she'd trace the tattoo with her finger, her mind racing. The traitor was still out there, and when the call came, when the black suit returned with new orders, Elena was ready. She'd face the jungle again, the betrayal, the fire. She'd face it all. The screen fades to black, the music swelling, a slow, powerful beat that lingers in the chest. Elena's story isn't over, but for now, she stands tall, a soldier forged in silence, a hero no one saw coming. If this story hit you as hard as it hit us, drop a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and let us know in the comments. From which part of the country are you watching this video? We're reading every single one, and we can't wait to hear from you.